Good morning from the Philippines. Man, it's still raining here. Another rainy morning here in the Philippines. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the hangout. Broadcasting live from the mountains near the beautiful Subic Bay here in Zambales. So I want to say welcome to tonight's hangout, where we discuss current events, the mysteries of life, weather in Southeast Asia, news. You know what I mean? All those interesting topics. So I'll say welcome to the show. But before I get too far into it, somebody give me an audio check and just let me know that I'm broadcasting live and that you can hear me. Because old Steven Spielberg here quite frequently broadcast to myself because I didn't push all the right buttons. That's just what happened. So I'll wait for some comments to come across. Let's see, looks like I'm broadcasting live over on Kick, and it looks like we're live over on Twitch. So if you're on those platforms, thank you very much for joining me. Okay, Rico, how are you? Reporting loud and clear. Pony Boy, all right, thank y'all very much for joining us here on today's stream. All right, well, that's good. So at least I got my microphone turned on. Sharky, how are you? Yep, I'm live and I'm still alive, so it's a good day. All right, friend checking in from Chicago, KRM, reporting audio good. A bit of echo at first, but it cleared up. Okay. My studio's, I got to soundproof it to help with that echo. So my bad, but Rome was not built in a day. Let me just give y'all a look at my morning here, and it's actually slowed down. It's a little bit dark because I had to close the window. But the frog pond has been taking a lot of rain this morning. The frogs have been quieter than usual due to all the extreme rain that's coming down. So it's let up a little bit. But I changed the angle on the dangle of one of my cameras to check the wind speeds. We're looking off at that tree and Big Pumpkin's laundry to check the wind speeds. A little bit different angle on the dangle today. And put the technology up there on your screen, courtesy of Pagasa. Shout out to all the folks over there, the real weathermen and ladies and meteorologists. So that's what's going on here. Just a rainy day. But again, today got a little bit of wind going on. Good morning to you, Doc. Hope you're doing well. Just waking up, coffee time. Speaking of that, I'm on my second cup of coffee today. Got some real coffee going on. So life is good. Hey, Charlie, what's the hot topic today? There's no telling where the wind is going to blow us on the topics of tonight's show. But the first topic is it's still raining here. Good weather prediction from Pagasa. They basically told me rain today, tomorrow, going into Monday. So I knew already it was going to be a rainy weekend. Let's see. Maximus checking in from Chicago. How you doing? Bert says I look like an older Bruno Mars. Yesterday, somebody said I look like Whitey Bulger. Let's see. Yeah, you're always trying to improve the audio. In this game, the audio is much more important than the video. These days, the video is so easy. You know, grab any camera, point the thing in the right direction. It's pretty good. It's still the audio that you got to work on. Did the clothes skunk up? So far, they haven't. I don't know about this last batch, but she tried to hit me up again today. Take the clothes to the laundry. Nope. You got that nice, very nice clothesline up there. Brand new clothesline. That dryer. Plenty of room out there to keep them separated. You got plenty of wind blowing through here. So no, I'm not taking the clothes up to the laundry and dropping 500 or 600 pesos. Not yet. Now, if there's no breeze blowing through, sometimes they get skunked. But with that breeze, there's no need to take everything to the laundry. No need to panic at this point. Let's see, Bert checking in from the Clark Airport area. Papa Smurf, good morning to you. And reporting rain in New York City. Yeah, Big Pumpkin's got it down, Like I said, she goes in there in the morning, does the old click on the rice cooker, and then fires up my coffee maker. Got Roger checking in from SoCal. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, in the past, she skunked plenty of clothes. But with this big, long clothesline where they can have some separation and got a breeze blowing through, knock on wood, they're not going to get skunked. But like living in our old place, you had that small clothes rack. They were too close together. They would quite frequently get skunked because you don't have that separation where the wind can blow through them. Under the Dogwood, good morning to you, my friend. Hope y'all are doing well. All right, Steve is reporting that it's pouring in Manila. Let's see. Talking about a scammer alert. Was approached by a 60-plus canoe with a USMC hat asking for money. Security guard said he's a scammer. Let's see. Steve checking in from New Zealand. Hope you're doing well. Abyss, how you doing? Love how unreactive you are to the trolls. I love the trolls. All those handsome donkeys, I love them. They're all welcome here. They do not affect my blood pressure. I roll out the welcome mat for all of them. And Under the Dogwood says lots of rainy weather there in central west Florida. Look, it's raining everywhere. My goodness. Bobby Martin, good morning. How you doing? Hope you're doing well and reporting loud and clear. Yesterday's the first day I put a little bit of bass into this microphone. I don't know if it made it any better than it was. It was like a little too much treble into it. Put some bass in there. And I got to get those egg crates to put here in my studio. But every time Big Pumpkin gives me 2 egg crates, Forrest G comes in here and he likes to tear them up. So what's going to happen if I put them all over the walls and sound treat the room? He's going to think it's Disneyland for tearing up my egg crates, helping out with the audio. See, Roger says it's sunny in the 90s in California. Hey, good morning, Gregory. Yeah, the donkeys need love too. And Italicizer says I loved you in Terminator 2. And Jay, how are you? 100 degrees in California. Yeah, I wish I was talking about this yesterday. I just don't have enough handsome donkeys leaving those types of comments to do any more of those shows. They're scared to hee-haw. They don't like it when I feature them on a video. And again, one of the big reasons is because when you metaphorically speaking, hit people back, they will go in there and delete or edit their comment to make themselves look a lot nicer or smarter. And so when I put their comment on a video, they can no longer edit the thing. It's frozen in time, memorialized. They don't like losing that control. See, SG1, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, so folks, just a quick weather report of what's going on here in the Philippines. Let's just cut to my frog pond. We've had a pretty hard rain going on this morning with some wind gusts. The rain has let up like it always does the minute I go live. The minute I go live, the rain is going to let up. The winds are going to die down and make my weather report not very spectacular. But as you can see, we do have a little bit of wind going on. And again, change the angle on the dangle of my wind measuring instruments. So instead of just having trees and bushes, I've added Big Pumpkin's clothesline in there so you can see how much wind we got going on. But we have had some wind gusts this morning. Obviously still a bunch of soup according to the radar over the Philippines due to the Habagat, the southwest monsoon. And we'll go to Pagas's the 3 tabs that I use here. Now I gotta switch over to Fred Sanford mode. Hold on a second. Go from the cool breeze to my old man glasses, Fred Sanford style. Oh shit, got the wrong ones. If y'all grew up watching Sanford and Son, you know what I'm talking about. Dude got a drawer full of glasses and you gotta find the right ones. Okay, so let's come over here. This is the bulletin that I always reference. It's on Pagas's website. And if there is a storm in their area of operations, you'll get all of these bulletins. But when there's technically no storm in the Philippine area of responsibility, that's what you'll see. There's no active tropical cyclone in the area of responsibility right now. So then I come over here to the weather advisory. This is my 3rd tab that I go to. And it'll just give you the rainfall. And again, this is just for the southwest monsoon. But if there is a tropical storm, they'll have 2 charts in there talking about the rainfall. All I do is simplicity. I come over here, I look for Zambales. Oh, boom, there's my area right there. So 100 to 200 millimeters of rain. We're on the list for tomorrow all the way, going into Tuesday. So there you go. What does that tell me? It's going to be raining at least through Monday, according to this chart. It's usually pretty right on the money. There you go. Again, that's looking at the soup. Pretty much all over, I say, covering majority of the Philippines right now. There you go. That's your weather report. Dang, I'm getting good at this. 13 minutes in, 14 minutes in, I've got the weather report knocked out of the way. Now, I use my acronym VENT. What's VENT stands for? Volcanoes, earthquake news, and typhoons. All right, so let's check out the volcano status from Phil Volks. What do we got going on here? Looks like we got a 2, which basically means decreased unrest. We got a 1, which means it's sleeping. Got a 2 and a 1. So not much going on with the volcanoes here. All right. As long as we got 1s and 2s, usually no big deal. Where the normal offenders, there's the Mayan volcano, there's the old lady's village right down there, and then Canlaon, if I say that right, there's the old lady's village right there. So the old lady's village is like the meat on a volcano sandwich, sort of like the same way Angeles City is. It's the meat on a volcano sandwich between Mount Araya and Mount Pinatubo. And if you want to know some trivia, here's the volcanoes of the Philippines. Learn something new every day. They got 24 on the list. There you go. 24 active. I'm not a volcanologist, but I can read. That's what they say. Alright, what's the latest earthquake information? Somebody's already sent me a message. Hey man, did you hear about that earthquake? Alright, well, today is August 8th, 2026. Let's scroll back down, and it looks like since midnight, what do we got? There's some 2s, there's a 3.7. Do I hear anything higher than a 3.7? Yep, looks like a 3.8. So we're batting up to a 3.8 so far. So when you say, did you hear about the earthquake? Which one? About 20 a day. Alright? My buddy says I'm always going too fast, so I will slow it down. Let's slow it way down. Put my Cool Breeze back on, and they help with the fill light here. You sit there and have that light in your eye, much better put the glasses on. Okay, so let's go to your comments. I'm gonna crank up the there we go. Okay, the bass sounds good. Good morning from Talisay City, Cebu. Current hour weather shows 82 degrees. Cloudy with a 7% chance of precipitation. Alright, thank you very much, my friend, for that weather report coming out of Cebu. Maximus says, how many volcanoes on Camiguin? That's a good question. Good question. I'll have to look at the map. And I actually have a map pulled up from their site. Let's come on back up. Let's see. Aussie Mick, how are you? Sitting here after a 6-hour shift. Alright, Johnny, hope you're doing well. Yeah, lots of free food in that frog pond. I just can't get Big Pumpkin interested in eating the frogs. I wish I could, because if she was interested in eating these frogs from the frog pond, my nights would be a lot quieter. Now, they were sort of quiet last night due to the rain, but on a clear night, them frogs are so noisy out there. So if Big Pumpkin was interested in eating those frogs, it would be a lot quieter around here. Gregory says that one blonde that was on the Fauci Senate Plead the Fifth Like a Parrot show was amazing. Yeah, she was a good looking chick in the background. I guess she works for Speculation. She appeared to work for Ron Paul, but did make for some beautiful scenery in the background. Whoever's married to her is a lucky gentleman, but that's just speculation. Let's see. See, Carolina Hillbilly checking in from Masbate. Maximus says partly cloudy, low 80s, but no rain. Beautiful summer day in the Chicago area. You know, pretty much most every time I've ever been to Chicago, just beautiful weather. Love walking around downtown. I've had nothing but great times in Chicago. Alright, come back down to the comments here. Let's see, the Owl's Nest Garage, how are you? Got smoke and 80s reporting in from your location. Paulie says it's a beautiful night in Foley, Alabama. Alright, I'm looking forward to this rain here in the Philippines letting up. I'm hoping next week I'm going to get some clear weather. Getting back to feeling like a champion. So I need the weather to clear up so I can get out of the house for a while. And Maximus says supposedly has more volcanoes than towns. Let's see, Renee checking in from Northern California. Okay, so if you're just joining us, rainy day here in the Philippines. Our volcanoes are at a level 1 and 2. Nothing really exciting to report there. And typical earthquake activity. Yuma, Arizona checking in. How you doing, Claude? Hope you're doing well. Alright, so with that, let's go on to what I do. I call it the vent report, right? Helps me remember. Volcanoes, earthquake, news. I'm on the news. A lot of times I do the weather first. Let's go to the news. Let's see. What's the latest according to the Philippine News Agency? Alright, looks like I gotta put my old man glasses on for a second here. Pull Fred Sanford. Okay, so it looks, unfortunately, 6 dead, 7 wounded due to the combined effects of Luis, Mai, and the Habagat. So we've got a trifecta of rain that just have, been dumped on everybody's head here. And let me refresh the screen. Maybe it's either a bad photo or my VPN is running a little slow. So there you go. Coming out of Manila, the report saying 6 people perished, 7 were injured due to tropical cyclones Luis, Mai, and the southwest monsoon, the Habagat. And again, we talked about it yesterday. 2 people lost their lives due to a landslide up in Benguet. So drowning, electrocution. So folks, it's Captain Obvious. Every time we have one of these storms, obviously somebody gets impacted. When I do my reporting from here, all I can tell you is how it impacts us. But that's coming the news due to all 3 of these weather systems. Yes, I am a human. And then what's the other one? Rains to prevail over most of the Philippines due to the Habagat. If I'm saying that properly. So there we go. Again, I just look for where I'm at, Zambales. What's the gist of the weather report for us? It's still raining. It's going to rain for a few more days. All right. So I'll leave that up there. Catch up on your comments. DeMarcus, how are you? And again, you said the same thing yesterday. The only thing missing from my wardrobe is a red clown nose. I'm on the lookout for one. Once I find one, I'll wear that thing on the next show. I don't got one right now, but just stay tuned. And dreams can come true. Yep, got to fire up Red Horse 6, get her back out on the roads. But right now it's just raining so hard, no reason to get out in this mess. Will I ever do some walking videos? Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day. I said, you know what? Back during the lockdowns, I used to walk all the way from Barreto up to Subic Town like it was nothing. Initially out of necessity. Yeah, why not? Why not I get out there next week? Maybe I'll walk from Subic Town down to Barrio Barreto. Take a nice leisurely walk for old time's sake. I'll tell you, when you're driving down the road in a car, this is Captain Obvious, you miss like 80% of what you pass. You're paying attention to the road. You get on a bicycle or a motorbike, slow it down, you see a lot more things you never saw, but not compared to when you're walking. It's Captain Obvious. But I do a lot of walking wherever I'm at, and that's how you find little nooks and crannies and little small restaurants, little drinking spots, what have you. It's when I'm out walking. The speed of a nice leisurely walk, you pay attention to everything. Shit that you've driven by millions of times and you never saw, but you will when you're walking. Let's see, Mike, happy Saturday morning to you as well. Yeah, I did hear about the Thai school shooting that went down yesterday. Again, didn't dig into it too far, but I believe the young man shot his grandparents, then went to the school. Just another tragedy. Another tragedy. One of the commonalities. Let's just talk about it for a second. And I might be mixing this story with the last shooting, but all too often in these shootings, the suspect is described as an avid gamer. Avid gamer. That's like the politically correct, everybody gets a trophy way to describe these lazy ass fucking couch potatoes sitting around drinking their energy drink, playing fucking Call of Duty all damn day. Avid gamer. Back in the 80s, when you spent too much time on the damn video game, get your lazy couch potato ass up and go outside. You weren't recognized as having positive qualities when you laid around and played too much Atari or whatever you had going on. It was quite the opposite. The adults were not praising us for being avid gamers. Back then, gaming was not a sport, and it will never be a sport in my mind. And I realize I'm over on Twitch and Kick on video game platforms, but I just got to keep it real. Come from a different generation. If you played too much Atari, get your ass up and go outside or do something. Lazy couch potato, and now we praise that activity as being an avid gamer versus being a lazy piece of shit raised on a video game and then goes and shoots up somewhere. Damn, had to get off on that. See, you're trying to do the weather report. Avid gamer. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, Under the Dogwoods talking about volcanoes in Guatemala. Yeah, I wrote about that in my second book. Me and Pablo got freaked out when we saw that one volcano start to spew. We thought it was the end of times. I'd never been around a volcano before. And anyhow, King Joseph, how you doing? Checking in from New Mexico. Yeah, all is good here. Everything is good here, other than this rain. Under the Dogwood says, love the wide open spaces in New Mexico, driving from Las Cruces to Truth or Consequences. Yeah, I love that area. I love Santa Fe, that area north of there. Man, just what some beautiful country. The times I've been up in those mountains, there weren't many people. A lot of times I was the only game in town, especially during the week. On the weekends, you got people up there camping, but like during the week, a lot of times you're the only person up there. At least that was my experience. Such beautiful, beautiful country up there. Yeah, there's a school shooting here as well. We talked about that on a previous stream where the Department of Education did their first ever active shooter drill down in Manila just a few weeks ago, because of that incident. And it's sad that they have to do that. For a few days, had police over at the kids' school. They were locking the gate. Things have calmed down now, sort of went back to normal. But yeah, it's just sad that any of that shit has to happen. What has society come to? But again, you take a child, all right, let's just be honest. You take a child who has no experience in life, and from an early age, you hand him a console and let him sit there and play Call of Duty for 8 to 12 to 14 hours a day, unsupervised, programming himself. What do we think is going to happen? What do we think is going to happen, especially as realistic as these games are these days? A lot different back in the day when we're playing very rudimentary video games versus the realism of today. And they're raised on this. Think about that programming. They're growing up not knowing anything else about life, and this is their raising on a game like Call of Duty. And we wonder why these incidents happen around the world on a routine basis. We can't seem to figure the shit out. It's not like a person is raised and has a base and then you want to play this video game. The children are being raised as if this is what normal life looks like. And we wonder why. They can't talk to women, they can't talk to each other. We wonder. My daughter is lucky to get an hour a day, every other day, free reign on an iPad. There's never going to be no gaming console in here. Not going to happen. Not saying we won't go to the arcade in the mall, and we do that. You got an arcade in the mall? Hell, up here at the Walmart got one. Kids love going in there. Mostly they play in the ball pit. But give them a couple coins, let them mess around like back in the day. Go to the arcade, we're there for an hour, now we're gone. Now it's out of their life. They're not being raised on realistic computer games where the objective is to kill your opponent 8 to 12 hours a day, and we wonder why. No, that's not helping with my viewership or subscribers over on the video game platforms. Don't change reality. Yeah, just kids sitting in their mother's basement killing each other 12 hours a day, jacked up on energy drinks. What a great combination. Then all of a sudden, dad's got to work, 2-3 jobs. Mom's working 2-3 jobs. And in between games, they're up there browsing the arsenal. There you go. Marriage rates have dropped. Nobody's interested in chasing women. They're too busy doing this shit. I just watched a short clip that they released of the In-N-Out Burger shooting, right? of that young man who just snapped and started shooting people for no reason. I don't know what the motive is going to be, but I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm going out on a limb, but I'm sure at some point it will come out that gentleman was an avid gamer. An avid gamer. Okay? Now how am I formulating that speculation? Obviously he's got guns, but he ain't no warrior. It looks like his actions are a typical avid gamer. But we'll see. I'm just speculating. I don't know nothing about it other than the brief clips I watched. But he's definitely not Rambo. Probably going to be described as an avid gamer. Alright, so let me go around the horn. Looks like I got 48, is that 43? No, 43 thumbs ups already early into the stream. I know I'm going to break that 100 thumbs up barrier tonight for sure. Don't even have any thumbs downs right now. Maybe the silent fish will show up and give me that thumbs down. Where you at, man? Missing you. Russ checking in from North Florida. How you doing? Alright, let's just go around the horn and check the current weather conditions right quick here. Beautiful Subic Bay. There's the frog pond. So it doesn't look like we have a light rain coming down. Sustained rain going on. No problem. There's your technology view. And then there's my today's wind meter. It measures the wind speeds, pretty accurate. You can see the trees over there at a higher elevation. And then the wind speeds underneath the carport are being depicted by Big Pumpkin's laundry hanging out on the line. So we do got a little bit of wind going on today. Boom! David Vidalis coming off the top ropes of the octagon. Thank you very much, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Thank you very much. So as you can see clearly, do got some wind going on here. It's probably the worst wind that we've had all week. A little bit of sustained wind. Got some wind gusts. And rain in the frog pond back there. But again, this is light. The minute, it always works out like this. The minute I go live, all the dramatic weather slows down. What would be the difference? I need to start going live at like 6 in the morning to show y'all how hard that it does rain here. JW's Dream, how are you? Checking in from Southeast Alabama. Alright, so got a few folks checking in from Alabama. Hope everything's good there. Again, Russ is up in North Florida. Okay, so Maximus is saying, I saw a statistic about Americans saying that daily use of cannabis has surpassed the daily drinking and smoking. Yeah, see, all that marijuana legalization, all that stuff has taken place since I've been gone. Now, over in Thailand they legalized it. I think they pull back the reins on it. I don't keep up on exactly what happens over there. But my buddy in America says, hey man, you don't realize it. Everybody here is just stoned. He said you cannot walk anywhere without smelling weed. You stay at a hotel, walk down the hallway, smell weed. Walk outside, you smell weed. Everybody's smoking weed, which means they ain't doing nothing but smoking weed. That's a big part of the problem. Nobody wants to do nothing but sit around and smoke weed. Let's see, L. McGee, how you doing? Will a thumbs down help? I'll be a huckleberry. Man, I'll take a thumbs down. It's okay. I'll take it up, down, sideways. It don't matter. Let's see. RLM Ski says audio loud and clear. All right. Thank you very much. Again, I put a little bass into this microphone. I know there's a little reverb in the room because it just ain't sound treated. I'm sitting in a concrete box. The shelves in the background with Big Pumpkin's clothes, they help out a little bit. Maybe I'll tell the old girl to put some more clothes on the shelves. Help out with some of the reverb. See Donald checking in from Ohio. David says no weed here, just Fritos. And Lefty all around. Lots of productive members of society smoke ganja. Okay. But we'll all agree that there's a change. There's a big shift from people not drinking. Obviously, it seems more people are smoking weed. Less people are chasing women. In danger of population collapse, according to Elon Musk. I'm doing my part. I'm gonna have as many kids as I can until it's time to go down and take a dirt nap. So I'm trying to do my best. And I am going to do my best to help prevent population collapse. Watching that, what's it called? Southland. Is that it? It's that police show. LA, it's a 10-year-old show. It ain't nothing new. It's new to us. Anyhow, we've been binge watching that show. And on that show, the dude's ex-wife came to him, wanted to have a kid. You know, she's talking about, hey, can you help me out, have a kid, or I got to go get a donor? The dude said no. I'm like, dude, what's the big deal? Why would you say no to that? All right, the chick comes to you and says, hey, need your help? Hey, man up. We're in danger of population collapse here. Don't worry about 18 years of child support. Humanity is about to suffer a population collapse. You got to do what you got to do. Gosh. Donald says he just burnt one. Yeah, I've always just been a drinker. I don't know nothing about weed or drugs as far as being part of that scene. Just always been a drinker. Nope, ain't never smoked weed. That don't mean I ain't been high due to my previous profession. Took down some grow houses one time, and after pulling them plants for about 12 damn hours, I went home and destroyed every hot pocket in the house. My son woke up and I'd eat all the snacks out of the freezer. That was some sticky weed. Yeah, see, JW's Dream talking about Yellowstone. Yeah. But you know what? I've only seen the first 3 seasons of Yellowstone. I haven't seen anything past the first 3 seasons. They got it on Netflix here, at least my version, the full-peen version. They got seasons 1, 2, and 3. I haven't seen nothing beyond that. Yeah, I'm stuck. I mean, look, I've been gone from the States for a long time, right? And, when I left, you still couldn't smoke weed without going to jail, or maybe out in California you get a citation and not go to jail. Times have obviously changed. They legalized it over in Thailand. I thought it was a trap. Don't fall for it. Over there, there were weed shops everywhere, but I'd never see any customers in there. Everybody thought they was going to get rich overnight off of weed. I just didn't see it. I never saw it. I walked past 15 weed shops. There might be one customer in one. Yeah, old Genghis Khan. He did his best to prevent population collapse. You know, when you start thinking about it, right? I talk about this many times, but it's just something I never thought about. If a couple has 2 kids, that's a birth rate, I think, is of 0, right? That's just maintaining the status quo. The only way you help contribute to the population is if you have 3 or more kids. Isn't that kind of crazy? So think about this. How many couples do you know these days that are having 3 kids or more? I mean, even over here. Okay, look. For example, you know, Fatima's, what she got? 12 brothers and sisters? 10, 11? I don't even know. Okay, if you ask me to name them all, I'd have to get a piece of paper and a damn legal pad and try to work it out. You know, grandma had a bunch of kids. That's like historically here what happened. But the kids these days aren't having 10 or 12 kids like the previous generation did. You know what I mean? At least all the folks I know. But you go up there and, you know, you go around to, you know, some of these families. Kids are 20 years old, 25, whatever. They got 10 brothers and sisters, but ain't none of them having 10 kids. That's in my personal observations. So is the population here in the next generation, it don't seem to be going up. It's not just in the U.S. Happy birthday, Mr. Gary Elrod. All right, man, I hope you had a good day, or you're having a good day. Happy birthday to you. All right, whoever just gave me that thumbs down, I certainly appreciate you. Thank you very much. I got 58 thumbs up, so I got 1 thumbs down. I'll take that all day long. Yeah, one time I got, you know, it was so confusing about all the family members. At one point, I made her sit down and draw me out a family tree and put the names and the birthdays on there. I don't know what happened to it. You know, that way I could reference it and figure out who was who. I think I could sit down and name everybody. Like some of her brothers I give nicknames to. But like their kids and their old ladies, no way. It's too much. But you know what? Everybody, all they got to do to remember me is, oh, that's the Cano. Ain't nobody know my full name or my last name. They just know, oh, that's the Cano. Pretty easy. Yeah, Donald, I got a VPN, and yeah, I do run it. And you'll end up getting different stuff. Even though I'm running the Philippine version of Netflix, if I play with the VPNs, different stuff will come up even on that version. And one of the big reasons I like running the VPN is you get them free movies on YouTube. And a lot of good free movies right here on YouTube, but you don't get them if you're running your IP out of the Philippines. You got to run a US VPN, and then you get all these free movies. Yeah, even if you ask Fatima to name all her brothers and sisters, she's got to think about it for a second, and then you say, okay, well, how old are they? She got no clue. Damn sure can't tell you their birthdays. You know, probably Flo and Grandma, but it's just too many folks to keep up with. David said he told his girlfriend I wanted 9 kids. She had an anxiety attack. Folks, kids are wonderful. Kids are wonderful. Humanity, according to Elon Musk, is in danger of population collapse. You know, we men got to do our part. All these young bucks aren't interested in talking to women or making love or having kids. It's all up to us old dudes. Humanity is depending upon me to have some more kids. What can I do? Gosh. Can't just give up on humanity. Yeah, Maximus says you don't want to know all their birthdays because then I'll feel obligated to get them a gift. Maybe when I first started hanging out around here, I felt obligated. I don't feel obligated no more. You know what I mean? I think I got a good heart. I got a soft heart, but living over here, it's toughened me up a little bit. Gregory says, your Ray-Ban aviator glasses are being advertised through Walmart. Wonderful, outstanding. That's the desired result. See, part of YouTube's shopping affiliate program, if you feature products in your video, you can tag them. They'll be up there on display. If you click on that and buy something, we take a commission. All right, it's nothing new. It's called affiliate marketing. But my battle with the YouTube squirrels, their programs that scan these videos, is that most of the time I put a product up there. After they analyze the video, they'll take it down and say it can't be found or it's not prominently displayed in the video. And that's why I'm not impressed by these computer programs that are being branded as artificial intelligence. Okay? They're not as smart as they're portraying them to be to drive up the stock prices. Okay? All you humans out there can tell that I'm wearing a pair of aviator sunglasses. So why in the hell does a computer program scan 8 hours of video and determine that I didn't display the sunglasses? I'm just telling you what happens. That's what happens. They weren't found or weren't displayed. They're on my face for 8 hours. And your little AI, your little computer program scanning this can't figure that shit out. They do the same thing. If I sit here with a Yeti cup in my hand the whole time, do the same shit. Every barbecue show, we use those Lamson Sharp barbecue tools made in America. They'll say that I didn't display the product. Like I sat here and barbecued for 2 hours with the damn things. It's very frustrating. Something they have to work on and improve on. But if you're seeing these aviator glasses on sale at Walmart's, they haven't clipped me yet. But historically, in like a day or two, it'll get pulled off the video and say I didn't display them. How else could I display these damn glasses? They're on my face. They're on my face. I don't know what to do. Put them on a string and dangle them in front of the lens? I don't know how else you can display sunglasses other than wearing the damn things. That's why I'm not impressed by what they're claiming to be artificial intelligence. JW's Dream says my all-time favorite series is The Sopranos. Okay, back in the day, I heard about The Sopranos, and everybody was talking about them. I never watched them until, about a year ago? A couple years ago, whenever it was, recent times. I hit play on that first one, and boom, had to binge watch until the end. But, back in the day when everybody was watching them, I never watched the episode. So I'm a little bit behind the times on a lot of these shows I talk about. When I moved here, I didn't watch TV or go to the movies or watch a movie for years. I'm watching real life up in the club, watching that pole. Let's see, Maximus says, I have the same ones, but rarely use them since I roll with cheap ones. I'm not afraid to drop and scratch up. Yeah. I got bad luck with glasses. I either lose them, break them, something. I've been babying these and taking better care of them, obviously, because they cost more and they'll last a lot longer. I better knock on wood or I'll break them today. Let's see, how much is the Philippines Netflix? I can't remember exactly how much we paid, but it's cheaper than the USA plan. I did a video on this a few years ago. I tested them all. I tested the US version. I tested the Philippine version. I was running it on the Apple TV. And I can't remember all of my conclusions, but the conclusion on the Netflix was to go with the cheaper Philippine version. There's some stuff on either one that you get, but like for example, at the time I was getting Yellowstone on the Philippine version. You didn't get it on the US version. So anyhow, out of my testing, we just go with the Philippines, which is the cheapest. And a lot of the Filipino movies, the ones coming out recently, and they'll be half Tagalog, half English, but they're funny as hell. I mean, we'll put one of those movies on. The ladies are laughing their ass off. I'm laughing my ass off. I don't feel like I'm too left out of what's going on. Obviously, the ladies like the captions, but some of these Filipino movies are absolutely hilarious. I've recommended a few recently. I'd say they're better than the new movies coming out of Hollywood or coming out of the States. Let's see, Midnight Alchemist, how you doing? Checking in for Nana Emo, if I say that right. Maximus sees an ad for the Ray-Ban Aviators for $244. Alright, well at least you're seeing the ad. But with my luck, historically, in 2 or 3 days, I'll go in there and look, and it'll say, product not found or what have you, and it won't stay. Let's see, JW's Dreams got that Lodge cast iron Sportsman grill. Yeah, my buddy Kevin's got the original Sportsman. I know they come out with the new version. It's a little changed up a little bit. Yeah, love that grill. Great quality little grill there. I kept almost pulling the trigger to buy myself one here, and just never did, and the price is like ticked up. I looked at it the other day, like, damn, why didn't I buy one back then? But again, we move around so much, I probably would have given it away already. Great product though. Benito checking in from Texas. Guitar Jams likes the thick stainless, like the top chefs. I just like the taste of cast iron. I'm a redneck. I grew up in Mississippi. Everything's cooked in cast iron. It tastes like home. Let's see, Yuki Brook, how are you? Hope you're doing well. And Gregory says The Walking Dead. Now, I've heard of that, but I've never watched that. Let's see, Manai G, how are you? Yeah, it's like 169 pesos a month for the basic. I can't remember what package we get. But again, it was cheaper than the US, and I got exactly what I wanted. Everybody's doing well here today, my friend. Thanks for asking. Rain's letting up, and looks like the wind has died down a little bit. Still looking at soup on the radar there, but we're good here after some hard rain this morning. Yeah, old television series called MASH. Absolutely. All the classics. Now, we didn't call them classics back then growing up watching that stuff, but now they're referred to as the classics, right? All right, looks like I got Big Pumpkin disturbing my show. Big Pumpkin, did you want to say hello to all the viewers out there?
Hello, everyone.
All right, you know why she's smiling? Because she just went and got her teeth cleaned up at the dentist. And the question is, how many cavities do you got?
3.
Yeah, 3.
3, but I just stopped mine. Then I just stopped. I do appointment for keep next.
Okay, all right. The point is,
I have 3, but
Oh,
just a small thing. Not a
just
big
small
one.
ones.
Yeah.
Baby, it don't matter. 3 means 3 times whatever to fix them damn cavities. How about this? How about you just brush your teeth and floss more? So I got.
She's so nice and soft and.
She's a very, very nice lady.
Yeah, I like her.
So we're talking about cast iron, and she came in here smiling. I can only speak from my experience, but all the girlfriends I've had over here.
You want Coke or something?
I'll take a cold Coke in my wine glass, or better yet, put it in. Yeah, just bring the wine glass. Whatever. Just bring me something cold. Exit 61, checking in from Virginia. How you doing, my friend? Now look, when I start talking about dentistry here, I can't speak for everybody, all right? So don't accuse me of stereotyping everybody. I can only speak from my personal experience. Every girlfriend that I've had over here, including Big Pumpkin, when I met them, they had never been to the dentist. And, you know, one of the first things I did is, okay, let's go to the dentist. Get you a dentist appointment. Every one of them going into the dentist had to have some permanent teeth pulled, mouth full of cavities, and cost me a lot of money. And this one is and was no different. So just to throw that out there, dentistry is not something that a lot of people are going to spend money on. And how much for a dental cleaning? And the thing about it, you know, the money compared to the States is pennies on the dollar. How much for cleaning? I think, just for example, a cleaning and a checkup initial was like 2,000 pesos. I mean, you're talking $45 or less. Maybe a filling is 2,000 pesos. Now look, it's cheaper in the province. It's more expensive at a more advanced dental clinic. You go way out in the province to some of these dentists, they don't even have an x-ray machine. That's just reality. Let's see, Maximus says used to be 500, now it's around 1K. You know, again, out in the province, probably 1K. But you know, Rome wasn't built in today. Dentistry is coming up. Like the more clinics I go to now, they've got state-of-the-art equipment. Especially the younger dentists that are coming out. We went into a clinic in AC, young couple. I mean, it was state-of-the-art, and the prices reflected that. You go way out in the province, they don't even have a x-ray machine, cheaper prices, but you know, I'm sort of like, how are you going to work on my teeth without an x-ray? That's just me. I'm not a dentist. Don't let the uniform fool you. But that's just one of the big things. You meet a girl for the first time, okay, you're my girlfriend, whatever. You got to take her to the dentist and start the process of getting the grill up to speed. But every time I send Big Pumpkin to the dentist, she gonna come back with a cavity or two. It's gonna cost me money. So, and look, I'm on them. Everybody here brushes, flosses multiple times a day. I'm a tyrant when it comes to that. Guilty as charged. But Big Pumpkin's still gonna run up my dental bill every time she goes. They were talking about cast iron, and let's see, Guitar Jam says nothing better than stainless sears meat. Yeah, I just like the cast iron. It's what I grew up with. It's got a different taste to it. So that's what I like to use. Big Pumpkin just complains that it's too heavy. You know, she likes using the lighter stuff. And so I thought about getting her a carbon steel skillet from Lodge, where she can use the carbon steel and I'll just keep rocking on with the cast iron. Let's see, Guitar Jam says 2,000 baht or 3,000 baht on prices there in Thailand. Yeah, I mean, you know, people ask me these questions. You don't. There's no need for dental insurance here in Southeast Asia. It's cash and carry. Everything is so reasonable. No reason to worry about dental insurance. I get that question asked a lot. Very reasonable prices. You know, my dentist over in Thailand is a American guy. You know what I mean? Literally, we go in there and we talk politics for 5 minutes before I see the dentist, so to speak. So you got real good access. Again, depends on where you're at. If you're out in the province, not so much, but overall, especially in Thailand, no problem with excellent dental care. And again, it's coming up here. But I just throw that out there. If you're talking to a chick online, you never come over here, you're going to meet her for the first time, she's going to need some dental work. Yeah, carbon steel wok works for all types of cooking. Yeah, that's what I need. I need the biggest carbon steel wok that Lodge makes. That's what we need right now. Yeah, and then back to the dentist. The dentist in the mall, they cost a little bit more. And you don't, and you don't have to look for one in the mall. Obviously, they're paying a lot more rent, so their price is going to be higher. But you just look around and I go to a dentist way out in the province. They don't got an X-ray machine. You know what I mean? You gotta have an X-ray machine for me. Our Benito says, got me a pellet grill. I've seen those. We've talked about those. I ain't never used a pellet grill. I saw one, or I've seen a couple in a store. I don't know how they work. I don't know nothing about them pellet grills. Guess I'm seeing a commercial every 3 minutes for them Google skinny pants. Haven't tried it out yet. Yeah, Thai girls, a different situation in my experience. But again, all my Filipino girlfriends cost me a lot of money at the dentist. Let's see, did I hear that MySpace may start up again? Nah, I hadn't heard nothing about MySpace since way back in the day. Didn't they turn it into some type of music-focused platform? Don't know much about that. With the Palmolive Boys. I don't know what a Palmolive Boy is, Donald. Pardon my ignorance. The only person I have trouble with is Big Pumpkin. Lane's Way checking in from South Florida. Good to see you, my friend. All right, looks like we got a little bit of rain picking up. Got a little. I would just say that it's raining. Not a sprinkle, not a monsoon. It's just raining here now. Winds are calm, but I do hear it picking up a little bit. Let's see, the Owl's Nest Garage. I don't know what y'all are talking about. Again, pardon my ignorance. Maybe y'all are talking about, I have no idea. JW's Dreams asking about the pork that she brought home. It has some fat to it. You know, I tell her to get the pork steaks. You know, when I'm thinking about putting pork steaks on the grill, I want pork steaks from Fresh Options. That's the template. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not wanting her to, don't go to the market, don't go here, go to Fresh Options, get my pork steaks. She didn't do that. Now, I'm not saying they were bad, but they weren't pork steaks. They were pork chops with too much fat. Why does she do that? Because she wants the fat. She prefers fat and bones. I want the meat. And so she's going to figure out a way to get what she wants. And plus, there's ice cream at the Walter Mart. That's why they wanted to go up there. And that's what happened. It's just one of those things. You know, we always have a struggle over the food and the way the food is prepared. They want to cook it their way. They don't give a shit about what I like or how I want it prepared. They don't care. The only way I get things my way is if I go up there, pick out the pork steaks, take over the grill, run them off, and then I can make it my way. Okay, Mike says the Palmolive boys are the skinny jean wearing. Okay, well, I understand. I call them cods. Skinny jean wearing cods. Call of Duty shitheads. See, y'all got a different term for them. Maybe it's like the soy boys, the latte, the drinking folks. I drink a latte too, but you know what I'm talking about. Sitting around Starbucks with their activism. Let's see. Yep, Patty is my home. Most liberal cities in the whole world. I mean, maybe you could describe it as liberal. Everybody seems to just get along. It's you know the old song back in the 80s, you know, the Great American Melting Pot. You know those cartoons. You know what I'm talking about, right? That's sort of like Patty. It's truly a melting pot. You walk down the street, you'll go from hearing English to Thai to listening to Russian to Arabic. Hell, you can go for a walk and hear 12 different languages. Maximus says it's transactional. Well, it's my home, it's my paradise. Everybody just seems to get along for the most part with, a few hiccups, mostly alcohol induced. Usually there's something to do with somebody being too drunk when there's a story that comes out. Amazon delivers. Do I ever use it? Yeah, I mean, nowadays Amazon's like no big deal to order from. Click, click, click. 10 days later, here comes your Amazon package, no problems. Now, back in the day, let's go back in time years ago, when they didn't have all the problems ironed out. You know, you might order an Amazon package, it comes no problem. Hell, the next one gets snatched up by customs. Had a hard drive get snatched up. Wanted me to fill out 9 million pieces of paper. I told them to keep it. So, but nowadays, no, it's no problem. You can order from Amazon. Ooh, look, a big pumpkin coming in here with a tuna sandwich. Even got some chips. There might be some mukbang action going on. Some more mukbang action going on today's show. Baby, it might be mukbang. You want to join me in a mukbang? If you bring the chair right here, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Yesterday somebody said it's mukbang.
Mukbang.
I said mukbang. That's what I said. Baby, listen. I said mukbang. Okay, mukbang. which up until yesterday or a few days ago I thought was a food. It's not a food. It's when the host of a show
Eating the
live streams while eating a large amount of food and talking to the audience. That's a mukbang. So now she's giving me something to drink and something to eat, and I can use those keywords, mukbang.
Bye-bye.
Oh yeah, I got a cold RC going on. Okay, so let me scroll up. I missed some comments coming past here. Yeah, so no problem getting Amazon packages here now. We haven't had any problems. Well, a few years ago we had problems with the delivery people. Not Amazon itself, but they couldn't seem to get the package to the village, and they sent one back, pissed me off. But it's not like the problems of years ago. Shipping cart is what we use. If you go to shipping cart, they'll give you an address. You ship it to their Portland warehouse, which happens to be tax-free in the U.S., right? And you can let it sit there for a while, and then they'll box it up, put it on a ship, or put it on a plane. Obviously, the ship takes longer, but it's cheaper. Never any problems with shipping cart. So if I were going to ship something expensive, I would definitely go through shipping cart. And again, no problems with customs or the taxes or the fees, nothing like that. It's all up front, gets paid for. Let's see, JW's Dreams, watching a dude living in Vietnam, and he was singing its praises. Yeah, I love Vietnam. Magical place. I would love to live in Vietnam. I could live there no problem. Cambodia, I like Siem Reap. The rest of the spot, I really didn't fall in love with any place. I love Siem Reap. Could go there anytime and hang out or live there. Laos, just really too quiet. But yeah, I can live in Vietnam today. Yeah, if you order on Amazon from the U.S., it tells you up front what the shipping fees are and what the customs fees are. And some stuff is very cheap, and you'll look at another item, and the damn import fees is more than the item. So you just have to kind of pay attention to that. You got Shopee over here, you got Lazada, pretty much get anything you want. But Amazon, ordering on Amazon is no big deal. Just watch the fees, because sometimes the fees jack it up and it doesn't make sense. Yep, got some rain coming down in the Frog Pond, but it's just light. It's nothing compared to what it was doing this morning before I kicked off the stream. See, Keith, good morning to you. Checking in from Scotland. Hope you're doing well. KC, how you doing? Redneck and Peni, hope you're doing well. Okay, reporting still have issues with Amazon, and they refuse to even call the third-party service here in the PI. Okay, so everybody has, different experiences. Again, when we listed the village as an address, we didn't have a problem with Amazon. It was the local delivery guys claiming they couldn't find the place. No problems living in Angeles with Amazon sending this stuff. It took about 10 days. But again, if I were going to order, for example, this camera that you're watching me on, the Sony FX3. few $1,000s. You know, I had the choice of either building Big Pumpkin a house or buying this camera, the lens, the microphone. It ain't cheap. Well, when I ordered all this stuff, it came via shipping cart because I know 100% it's everything's good. The fees are solid. There's no, oh hey, you owe us extra money. None of that. None of those shenanigans. That shit came straight to the door. 10 days later, after I pulled the trigger, told them to send it. Sign here. Everything's good to go. Now, you know, and throughout the years living over here, shout out to all the folks at Subic Post Office. They were always wonderful. Anytime people sent us a package and went to the post office, and they would just shoot me a text, and I'd go over there, and it was like one fee, like 150 pesos or something like that. And folks, I'm talking years ago. I don't know what they do now, but years ago, they were always wonderful. It's a flat fee, just a few bucks, and never had a problem. Versus one package sat in a Longapo for months, and then they tried to blame somebody for it. I'm like, hey man, it's been sitting down there for months. You couldn't bring it up here to Barreto? And then I used to send packages down to my girlfriend in Leyte, and every one of those packages would get open, and they would tax us on the beauty products. They wouldn't tax anything else in the box. They would look at the beauty products. If they were beauty products, they'd assess a little bit of tax. So, let's see. I understand that Vietnam has amazing rent and food at really low prices. But the women in their 20s and 30s won't date middle-aged foreigners like a Filipino will. Yeah, rent, food over there, wonderful. I don't know about the dating scene. The reason. Thank you very much, baby. Thank you very much. I was just about to talk about the dating scene of Vietnam. You want to hear about all my ex-girlfriends from Vietnam? Huh?
She's ex, I'm the person.
I don't really know much about the dating scene in Vietnam. It was back when I was rolling over there. My Thai wife was with me. Sort of kind of put a dent in my game over there. So I don't know what their current, what's the word I'm looking for? The societal norms are over there now. I don't know. And talking about the visas. One thing about visas, folks, is visa rules and regulations change year to year, month to month, depending on where you're at. Everything in life changes, right? Nothing ever gets easier. Nothing ever gets cheaper. You know, visas and the visa situation, no different than anything else in life. That's just the way it is. Okay, so a question from Steve-O. What do I prefer, dealing with Thai or Filipino girlfriend families? Which is harder? That's an interesting question. I don't know. Man, I don't even know where to begin. I'll just tell the story, right? One of the big differences between the PI and dealing with chicks here, their families, versus over in Thailand is the amount of zeros at the end of the number. Thailand is not a developing country. It's developed. Big difference. Now this is 20 years ago when this went down, but I've told this story. I was going to buy my mother-in-law a new motorbike. You know, they had an old junk motorbike. I'm sitting there, all right, what should I buy? I'm going to buy them a brand new one. I'm going to get the Good for Long award. You know, I'm going to be a Good for Long. I'm going to buy my mother-in-law a new motorbike. So I went around, I went to the Honda place, Yamaha, Suzuki. I got these brochures. I'm sitting in the floor in the living room trying to figure out which one's the best. And I said, you know, ask my mom if she want Suzuki, Yamaha, or Honda. You know, I'm like just waiting for the answer. I'm going to get the Good for Long award. My mom said something in Thai. My old lady looked at me and said, my mom says she want Toyota. She don't want no Honda, no Suzuki, or no Yamaha. She want Toyota. There you go. Which one's harder to deal with? How much money you got in your pocket? You got big money. You could deal with a Thai girl. You got low money, you ain't gonna be dealing with no Thai girl these days. Even 20 years ago. And that scratched the surface of the question. That's one aspect of it. Unless you got big money, you ain't gonna be dealing with no Thai girl, period. I'm sure if I ask grandma right now, you know, hey, you want a brand new Yamaha or a Honda? She's gonna pick Yamaha or Honda. The word Toyota is not gonna come out of her mouth. Look at that mukbang action on a tuna sandwich. Let's see if I can get that to focus in on that tuna. Oh yeah, look at that tuna. Oh, see in my eyes. Right there. There you go, right there. Look at that tuna. Now I wish I had a slice of tomato and some onion, a little lettuce on there. But it does have some mayonnaise in there. Big Pumpkin knows how to put the right amount of mayonnaise in the tuna sandwich now. Before it was way too dry. So there's obviously a lot of cultural differences between here and there. But if you want me to put it in a nutshell, most of us can't afford to date Thai women, especially these days. You just can't afford it. Let's see, love that picture of the rain, or to class that as monsoon. Not right now, but this morning it was coming to monsoon. Now all this rain technically is from the southwest monsoon, the Habagat. But this is light. This morning This morning it was raining so hard. It's like the camera, the frame rate of 30 frames couldn't keep up. It was like making the view of the frog pond like look weird. It was raining so damn hard. With that mukbang action right there. Let me crunch a chip so I can get the ASMR hashtag. One more. There we go. We were discussing this yesterday. Caught my daughter in there watching a video one time of this chick doing nothing but crunching hard candy. Like millions of views. She didn't say nothing. She didn't talk. She didn't say nothing. She just sat there with a whole big old pile of hard candy, crunching it right into the microphone. Yeah, Keith, I think she got chicken wings for supper. That's what I think. She's going to fry some chicken wings. Man, I love eating jalapenos. I don't know why are they bad? You're saying they're bad for your health, or I can eat a whole jar of jalapenos right now. Boom! Benito Ruiz coming off the top ropes. Thank you very much, my friend. Yeah, the Iran situation continues to be illogical. DJT continues to say that he's close to a deal. Meanwhile, they're over there passing legislation to tighten up the control. DJT seems to be negotiating with himself or with people other than the IRGC, who's in control. We're dealing with people that only understand the stick. They don't understand negotiation. They don't want to negotiate. Check the wind speeds right there. That's the current wind speeds here on the beautiful Subic Bay. Not too much. Everything's calmed down now. I'll hit the refresh on this here. We all look at these weather maps, what have you, especially if you got family. It always looks like a lot harsher weather than it really is, conditions on the ground. At least that's my experience. That's why I like to contrast what's going on here on the screen versus what's going on in the frog pond. It doesn't always correlate. Old hippie checking in from Chicago. Everything's good, man. It's real good. Got me a tuna sandwich. She even brought me some chips. A real good tuna sandwich here with the mukbang action, where the host eats a large amount of food while talking to an audience. Yeah, take that lechon minot, leftovers, make some chicken salad sandwiches. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's see. You gotta lock the focus here. Focus on the eye. Let me lock this focus. It's going in and out. How about that? Is that better? Let's see. Termy Cobra is talking about the visa situation. Man, that's a really good tuna sandwich. Yeah, that's a question. How long is humanity going to fight each other over religion when we all the religions believe in the same God? They just got varying opinions on how to worship the same God and who the prophets are. Let's see, Guitar Jams talking about Mike Johnson. Never heard of him. Oh, wait a minute. Is that the dude who lives 3 doors down? Don't talk much. Yeah, the chicken here, we talked about this yesterday. Chicken here is not full of the hormones, the antibiotics. It was about a half the size of the chickens you get over there. You go buy a whole chicken here, it's like the size of one of them little bitty rotisserie chickens that you get at Publix for lunch. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. But again, you show Big Pumpkin a video of a chicken in America. It's like the biggest chicken she's ever seen in her life. Look at that. That's happiness right there. Tuna sandwich, barbecue chips. Man, she really thought about me today. I don't know what she's in there eating. She could be in there eating a 5-course meal. But at least she brought me something. You see Maximus talking about it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they put in there. But Jollibee advertises their chicken sandwiches, 100% real chicken. Of course, my question was, well, if you're advertising the sandwich is 100% real chicken, what does that imply about the rest of the menu? Never figured that one out. 100% real chicken on the sandwich. Yeah, it's a delicious plate of carbs. Barbecue chips, tuna sandwich with some mayonnaise. Better than I get most of the time. I'm telling you. Check the frog pond. Still got a little bit of rain coming down. Just enough rain to keep you in the house all day. Winds coming and going. That's the current conditions here. Let's see, Canezilla eating an extra large sausage pizza. Nice. Maybe tomorrow night might be pizza night here. Pretty good deal down at Shamboli's. You get that large pizza and get a 1 liter or 1.5 liter Coke for free. Like 800 and something pesos. It's a pretty good deal. Considering that last time we ordered that large pizza, we didn't even eat all of one of them. We had a whole pizza plus a slice or two left over for breakfast from the second one. So one large pizza coming with that free Coke will feed the whole crew here. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Guitar Jams is a extreme fan of DJT. Look, the problems of the United States of America are not caused by Trump. They weren't caused by the Biden administration. This is a decades-long effort at destroying the United States. Every one of us that are sitting here talking right now are part of the problem. We got to take and bear some responsibility. I take the blame. Why? Because in my life I was too busy and have been too busy partying, chasing women, dancing, listening to country music, going to concerts, barbecuing, enjoying the hell out of life. Meanwhile, some of the dumbest people in the United States got themselves elected. And, well, that's what you get. When the rest of us with common sense were too busy partying and chasing pussy and dancing to worry about the problems. Some of us should have got off the damn dance floor and off the barbecue grill and helped make common sense decisions up there in Washington, D.C. instead of letting the educated fools make the decisions for us. We're reaping what we sowed. You can't just blame one dude. And when has any politician made my life easier or better? None of them. Life continues to get more expensive, more difficult, more complicated. People aren't having fun like they used to have. And now we got AI and humanoid robots about to take us out. Yeah, I miss that Tesla chopper. But ain't no way my crew could fit on that chopper no more. Back in the day, you had 2 Filipinos on the back, 2 babies, myself. Can't fit like that no more. I outgrew that thing. Let's see, Steve-O says after traveling all over, U.S. is still far superior to many nations. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Everybody's opinion their wants. Everything is different. You got people here chomping at the bit to get to America. You got people in America chomping at the bit to get here. You know, from state to state in America, lifestyles are very different. Regions are different. We all have our opinions. You know, different time periods of your life. One man's junk's another man's treasure. Yeah, try to blame one dude for where the United States is at. It wouldn't do to one person. It was a fucking team effort. You know, the pendulum swings back and forth, right? If Trump hadn't taken over, the pendulum would have swung so far left. I mean, come on, people were identifying as cats, got litter boxes in the damn bathrooms in schools. Insanity. The pendulum needed to swing back. You don't want the pendulum to swing so far that we're Germany in 1939 or the 40s. We don't want to swing back that far. But prior to Trump, it was swinging way too far to the left. The country was just destroying itself. You know, it's like if you're not a liberal in your 20s, you have no heart. If you're not a conservative, by the time you turn 30, you have no brain. Old Zig Ziglar said, explaining Democrats versus Republicans. He said, Democrats are like mama. You know, a big old group of people walking by in front of the house, mama's like, hey, y'all come on in and get something to eat. Here, have some sauce, get you an extra biscuit, get you something to drink, here's a Coke. And then Daddy, the father, sitting over there like, how in the hell are we going to pay for all this? Them groceries are supposed to last 2 weeks. That's how you describe like Democrats versus Republicans back then. Mother versus father. Mom wants to help everybody, be Mother Teresa. Papa's trying to figure out how to pay for this shit. That was back in the 80s when I think it was the 80s when he described that. Got to be a balance. We were talking about Reagan yesterday. Reagan's speech when he was elected governor. I might be butchering the history, but I'm sitting here eating a tuna trying to do a mukbang presentation. I think it was 1967. Is that correct? Somebody fact check me. When Reagan said, freedom is only one generation away from extinction. Something about unless we fight and then hand the reins off to our children who have been programmed to fight, it'll go extinct. Well, our problem is that we didn't adequately train the younger generations to think like us. I don't know much about that Antifa, other than the fact that they all seem to wear black skinny jeans. Every one of them wearing skinny jeans. I can't take them serious. I don't know what they're about. They're the uniform. Skinny jeans and a hoodie. You ain't gonna win no fashion awards. I see these videos and these debates, discussions about, what are they calling now? The in-shitification? That everything in life is suddenly shitty quality, shit food, too expensive. I think it's called the in-shitification is what they're referring to it in these titles. Okay, so it's short for anti-fascist. Well, all I've seen from outside looking in, skinny jeans, hoodies, just thugs creating havoc. That's all I see they do. They just causing problems. I don't think they've solved any problems. Appear to me just to be a bunch of shithead kids with no accountability. You know, I tell you, we talked about it many times, but that movie, The Second Civil War, it's a satirical, political comedy. But if you haven't watched it, you should watch it. It's called The Second Civil War. You know, it's about where various states have been taken over politically. Like this state belongs to folks from India. This one over here is Muslim. This one's another country. Everybody competing for their piece of the pie. And then what's the plot? They want to ship some Hispanic kids out west, and the governor uses the National Guard to block them from resettling them. But secretly, he's in love with a Mexican chick. I mean, it's satire, it's a comedy, but it's sort of what's going on in America right now. It's exactly what's going on in America. And it's the argument about, it has nothing to do with racism or different races living together. It's about the culture. Multiculturalism, is that the right word? Doesn't work. Everybody's competing for their way of life, competing against each other within the same country. Nobody's on the same sheet of music. Nobody wants to be American. That's the problem. I mean, look at the Chinese. Whether they want to or not, everybody's marching in the same direction. welcome you to the stream. If you're just joining us, give you a live weather report here. Looking at my frog pond. It's coming to good rain here on the beautiful Subic Bay. Wind speeds are about 1 to 2 kilometers per hour, according to my old lady's clothesline out there in the mango tree. So just a rainy day here on Subic Bay. Hanging out with friends, discussing the mysteries of life, politics, the reason kids are shooting up schools, the reason America is in a state that it's in today. We're discussing and somebody can look it up, see if there's any new information coming in about the shooter at the In-N-Out Burger. Doesn't seem to be a true warrior to me, but I bet at some point he will be described as being an avid gamer. Seems to be the politically correct way to describe school shooters. He was an avid gamer. I saw a quick interview with the one civilian that engaged that guy. He said the dude was big and bad. I'm summarizing. But what I interpreted was, oh, he's big and bad till I started ripping rounds at him. Then his whole mentality changed. Well, yeah. It's like Mike Tyson said, everybody got a plan till you get hit in the face. These Call of Duty shitheads that play these games all the time, they never get hit in the face. You know? If it's game over, you just hit reset, or whatever the hell you hit these days, right? Reset, new game. Real life, when the rounds start coming in your direction, all of a sudden they don't want to play no more. Boom! Guapon, Bacalao. Thank you very much. I certainly appreciate it, man. I hope you're doing well. I'm going to tell you right now, though, that tuna sandwich has been outstanding by the Big Pumpkin. Yeah, the U.S. is too divided. Nobody wants to be American. Everybody's competing for their own way of life. And again, I'm telling you, the second Civil War is basically what America has become. Go into these communities where, for example, the Muslim folks are in charge, well, it's what you get. And looking out for their way of life, their interests, the way they did shit wherever they were at before they moved there. On Yellowstone, Casey explained it about the people that moved to Montana, called transplants. They move there and they don't want to get along or blend in. They want to bring their way of life from wherever the hell they came from. Yellowstone's like, people coming from California with all the fucked up regulations that they complained about and moved to Montana to get away from. Now they want to impose that shit in Montana. Transplants. Don't want to move in and just enjoy the Montana folks' way of life. They want to bring their own misery up there and start transplanting it. A divided house cannot stand. That rug really tied the room together, man. Let's see, guitar jams, let's see. It's funny that MAGA is so against communism, but a communist country is about to be the #1 economy. Yeah, let's go with Jack Ma. How that worked out for him. See, G-Man, how you doing? Thank you, JWs. I'm just an old redneck from the backwoods of Mississippi. My simplistic brain usually just breaks things down into the most simplest form. You see, iLaugh says at this point you need to stick to eating tuna sandwiches. Man, I agree. Big Pumpkin makes a mean tuna sandwich these days with just the right amount of mayo. If I could get her to get some sweet pickles, some sweet pickle relish to go in here, some onions, big old slice of tomato, and some lettuce. Man, I'd be in hog heaven. Let's see, a guy that has not been in the United States for more than 4 weeks and 20 years knows nothing about the United States at this point. Well, part of that's absolutely true. I missed all the movements, a lot of the bullshit. I don't deal with a lot of the bullshit of America, right? Haven't had to go to any cultural awareness training, coming up on 20 years. I couldn't sit through another cultural awareness class. Okay? That's just one example. I don't need nobody shoving cultural awareness down my throat. Didn't need it back then, don't need it now. Just one example. So a lot of the stuff, no, I have no idea about. I wasn't there for the movement, for any of the whoever's lives matter and who don't bullshit. What bathroom can I take a piss in? Can I identify as a fucking cat or a dog or a tree? Nope. Missed all that shit. All that shit is absolute pure ridiculousness, mixed in with some fucking entertainment, mixed in with, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, I'm glad I missed all that. I'm glad I don't know about what a fucking pronoun is. And I wrote 2 books. I have no idea what a pronoun is or what the issue with a fucking pronoun is. I'm glad I don't know about that. I'm glad I missed all that. So no, I don't know shit about that. But when you leave your home country, you learn a lot more about it from the outside than you did from the inside on the world stage. So, nope, I'm not a local expert. I'm a motherfucking strategic expert. Maybe get me some t-shirts made up, wear that shit every strategic redneck. Yeah, I'm missing the sweet pickles. Missing the sweet pickles. But she's got the mayonnaise down pat. It's perfect. For a while, it was too dry. One time she put too much. She's got the exact amount of mayonnaise to tuna ratio that you can get. Perfect. Just got to start incorporating in the sweet pickles. Oh yeah, it's something else I don't know shit about. That DEI stuff. First I ever heard of that. I don't know, man. Maybe you're a viewer now. I was in the pool in Cebu City at a resort. Well, over there on Mactan. Me and my buddy were chopping it up. This American dude who was there on vacation with his old lady and kids. You know, it was him and his Filipino lived in America. They were visiting her family, so I deduced. You know, I started asking us questions. I wasn't interested in meeting nobody. I was having a conversation with my buddy. The dude's trying to question, hey, you know, how long you been here, this and that, or said something about America, and then he just went off on a tirade about how fucked up America was. He said, man, you know they got this thing called DEI? And I had no fucking clue what he was talking about. He said DEI. I was thinking like REI. I'm thinking camp and shit. Like, if somebody just said some acronym to you you've never heard before, you know nothing about. I thought the dude was going to start talking about the price of camping gear going up or some shit. I had no fucking clue what this dude in this pool was talking to me about. And he proceeded to get his blood pressure up. And was trying to explain it to me. I still really didn't understand what the fuck he was talking about, but he was pissed off about it. That's all I really remembered at that point. I had no clue what that shit was. I still really don't. Glad I missed that shit too. Let's see, Jethro checking in from Western Central Pennsylvania in the USA, checking in. Hope you're doing well, Jethro. I'm finishing up my mukbang portion of the show here. Almost done eating a tuna sandwich and some barbecue chips. Big Pumpkin did a great job. I hope I was close enough to the microphone to do some ASMR action. Oh, it's delicious. But she came out of the great gate strong, bought me an RC. Has not come back in here to say, hey, do you need a refill? I mean, back in the day, she never let my glass get below about 55%. She'd be watching it like all my other girls, right? When your glass got down to about a 55% level, they were coming in here filling it up or bringing me a fresh drink. Now, the difference between your girlfriend and your wife is this: what you get with your wife. Melted ice, reduced service, frequency of service reduced. Great tuna sandwich, but no sweet pickles. The Bulldog would have put sweet pickle relish in there. Would have had me a fresh drink. Things that your girlfriends will do that your wife just won't. Okay, JW's dream. There you go. That's the perfect example. Kamala Harris is a good example of DEI. Wasn't qualified for the position she was holding. There you go. And you know what? Tell the story again. I was in America on that flight, domestic flight. There was this lady. It appeared to be like an FTO type training situation on this aircraft. It was, I don't know, maybe she was about 40 years old, a little bit overweight. Uniform wasn't really up to par, looked unprofessional. Sure, she's somebody's mother and sweet lady. But from the get-go, looked like she didn't have any business being a flight attendant. Standing behind her was an older lady, very dressed professional. You could tell she'd been in the business for a long time, with a strange look on her face. Like she had no choice but to do what she was doing and keep her mouth shut. You know that look? And this girl was panicked. She didn't know what to do. She was making mistakes, whatever. And at the end of the flight, when we landed, everybody on the flight started clapping for the, not the older lady, not the professional older lady, for the lady who was stumbling through all of her duties. They were clapping. And I said, holy shit, that's this DEI stuff that the guy in the swimming pool was telling me about. Again, she's somebody's mother, probably a sweet lady, trying to hustle and put food on the table. I appreciate that hustle. But had no business being a flight attendant. None. Could not pull off the basic duties. Imagine if there was some emergency. People would be helping her. And so I saw that in action on a flight, and it was sort of scary. But for everybody at the end of the flight to clap, this is not the position we want that policy to apply in. People's lives are on the line here if something goes down. And that is not the person that's going to be able to perform. Okay? My grandmother, great lady, love her to death. But did she need to be serving as a flight attendant? No. That wasn't her calling. So anyhow, I saw it firsthand on a flight. Big Pumpkin, can I get something to drink here? Probably not even watching the show. The bulldog would be glued to the screen. All right, so Guitar Jams is still battling it out. The Battle Royale from Thailand. They're still battling it out over this DEI. And I was about to quote what it stands for and appear to be smart, but I have no idea what DEI stands for. Y'all told me once before. I know, I'm sure I've read it, but I can't remember it. I can remember the event report, volcanoes, earthquakes, news, and typhoon report. I can remember my own acronym. I don't even know what that stands for. But what it means is, like you said, putting unqualified people in positions. Because everybody gets a trophy, even though it could cost somebody their life. I think it's pretty obvious that Kamala is not qualified to be president of the United States. I'm sure she's a nice lady, wonderful lady. So was my grandmother. She wasn't presidential material. I don't know. I think maybe my grandmother would have been a pretty good president. But you get my point. All right, so Canezilla comes across with what it stands for. It's basically the updated version of everybody gets a trophy. You know, first time I heard that, way back in the day. My kid was going to high school, and he went to the cheerleading competition. There was like 15 teams. And the first time I ever heard that craziness was at that cheerleading competition where they said, they started out, and our 15th place winners. Everybody was cheering. I'm like, what is it? What's going on here? 15th place winner. My God, it took like an hour and a half to get to the award ceremony. Everybody was a winner. Our 15th place winners. Yeah. I'm like, you mean the motherfuckers that come in last get a trophy? What year was that? That was like, I don't know, 2000, mid 2000s. First time I'd ever seen that or heard that. Trump's illegal wars. Is any war ever legal? Legal is nothing more than ink on paper. It's whoever's got the gun, and whoever's the last person standing with the gun gets to decide what's legal. Other than that, it's nothing but ink on paper, waiting to be nullified. War crimes. What's that mean? It means if your ass loses, you might get prosecuted. If you win, there's no such thing as a war crime. That's war. Bert says the audio is just fine. Thank you very much, Bert. Certainly appreciate it, my friend. Bert's reporting in the Carolinas, 90 degrees. Man, it's warm there. It's cool here. And we certainly appreciating this cool weather. Yeah, the rain's kept us in the house, but man, it's been cool. To the point of cold at night. Yeah, I like green tea. I'm just trying to get anything to drink right now. To the point that I'm going to have to take a 5-minute break. I guess that's the best way to do it. And look here, I got a little sign too. Boom, look at that sign right there. Look at that sign. So I'm going to let y'all look at the frog pond. I'll let y'all look at the frog pond while I'm on my break. If anybody sees a big old anaconda wrap up a frog, y'all let me know so I can go back and look at the footage later on. But here's the mystery, the real mystery of life. Let's see. Hey, my friend, checking in from Belgium. Hope you're doing well over there in Belgium. The real mystery of life is that the frogs come out at night and they eat the bugs. But during the day, you never see the frogs. Where, oh where, do the frogs go when the sun goes down? So if anybody sees a frog while I'm on my break, you let me know. Put the date, or the time stamp, so I can go back and see a frog in the frog pond. You know they're there. They come out at night. You hear them all night long. But during the day, the frogs disappear. If anybody can explain that in the comments, we'll talk about it when I get back. But right now I got to take a 10-100 and go yak Big Pumpkin for not being as good of a waitress as she possibly could be, like the Bulldog. I'll be right back with you. Okay, I'm back. Back like a bad dream. Get my sign down right there. I feel much better. Took a 10-100, brushed my teeth, flossed. Life is good after that tuna sandwich. Let me go around the horn here. I gotta put my old man glasses on for a second. Take off the cool breeze. Pull a Fred Sanford. Oh yeah, I can see, said the blind man. What we got going on here? Got 67 folks still hanging out with me. I realize it's 1:19 in the morning on the East Coast. Exactly 12 hours opposite these days. Matter of fact, did they put the Wabash on that daylight savings stuff, or is that still going? Again, I don't know what's going on in America. You know, like half the time it's exactly 12 hours, then it goes to 11. The time difference. Anyhow, 69 folks still here. Thank y'all very much for tuning in. Let's see, looks like we're still broadcasting live over on Twitch. Thank y'all very much for tuning into the show. And then, are we still up and running on Kick? Yep, looks like we are. I think we are. Sometimes on Kick, it doesn't like to play here in the Philippines. You got to make sure you're running a VPN. I don't know if they got it blocked or what the deal is. Twitch, no problem. And let me catch up. Let me go ahead and catch up on your comments. Still arguing on the elections and America and everything else. Let's see. Bert says this is old, recorded 2 hours ago. Well, it's old. Man, I'm live. This is live. Coming to you straight. Look, that's live from my frog pond out there. I'm live. This is really me. This is really my head. And that's really Big Pumpkin's clothes hanging on the line right there. Real time. Ain't no AI fakeness bullshit here, my friends. Yeah, Benito says it's 12:25 in the morning. Yep. East Coast, we're exactly 12. But yeah, your time, you're 1 hour. You're at 12:25. We're at 1:21 p.m. Okay, so since we're pretty much up on the weather here in the Philippines, it's raining. What I'm going to do is change out my tabs, and we'll see what's happening over in the Middle East. You know, all I do is just put the tabs over there, move them into place. Move my tabs into place, and then I got to hit refresh on all of them to see what's happening in the hood. Hell, we just start out with Al Jazeera, see what they say about what's going on in the Middle East. Let's see. Let's go to live updates. Just the same stuff, different day. I'm gonna tell you right up. It's why I don't do these specific shows anymore. Because it's just same shit, different day. Let's go to this particular site right here. Now look, I don't have any faith or loyalty or allegiance to any news site. They're all full of shit. So I just pull up different perspectives. Let's go to this one right here. Iran International. Washington looks for an off-ramp as Tehran fights to retain Hormuz leverage. Houthi missile and drone attacks kill 2 in Marib as fighting widens. Global media acknowledge Trump's defeat in the Iran war, according to the IRGC. Iran seeks to bar U.S. warships from the Strait of Hormuz, according to the Wall Street Journal. Iran and Oman interim deal includes a 60-day period for further talks. So it looks like Iran is negotiating with Oman over how they're going to govern the strait. One report that I read said Iran's going to charge and control the inbound lanes, with Oman governing the outbound lanes. So they both get a piece of the pie, and I've seen that here locally. You get off at an island and you pay an environmental fee to get onto the island. That goes into whose pocket? The mayor. When you go to leave, there's a Homeland Security fee, 50 pesos. Who gets that? Barangay captain, right? No different. Everybody's looking to get their piece of the pie. Okay, no problem. What's the best deal to make with Iran? Y'all control the inbound. Do whatever the hell you want. Charge as much as you want. Whatever you want. That's your side. Just give us the outbound so we can get our tax. You know what I mean? And then if Iran raises their shit to 1,100,000, Oman will raise their fee to 100,000. It just keeps creeping up. Everybody trying to get a piece of that pie. Here you go. So again, that's what's being reported from that particular site. Let's just take a look at the Strait, this website that the world has stared at until we've all went half blind, and see if we can make any sense of this madness. So again, if you read this recent reporting, Iran wants to say, hey, you got to come up here so we can control you, and then we'll let y'all go out on the Oman side where they can control you, and we all make money. It's all about the money. Money, money, money. All right, come over here. Let's see what Al Jazeera is talking about here. Trilateral Mecca Defense Pact signed. Hormuz deal looms. The question is, who is part of the deal? See if we can come down here. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Now look at this top sentence here. The U.S. expects Iran and Oman to reach an agreement that would reopen the strait. How does that make any sense? The U.S. is hoping that they reach an agreement. And the whole time, CENTCOM has been saying they don't control it and it's open. I think everybody in some form or fashion thinks they're in control. The fact that it's closed puts the IRGC in control. I mean, that first bullet point right there is like stepping off into the twilight zone. Vessel traffic through the strait has declined this week. U.S. senators have introduced a resolution to end Trump's war. All right, so with all that said, CENTCOM is the one who historically has kept asserting that the IRGC is not in control and that it's open. Let's see, 8 hours ago, just some Feel good pictures there. More feel good pictures. Okay. Who to follow. Change of command. We're flooding the stream with information not pertinent to the strait. All the ones who taught me what that means, flooding the stream. Okay, so let's bite. Let's click on this one. U.S. forces continue to strictly enforce the blockade. Okay. More feel-good pictures. Meetings. Okay, so here you go. This is August 1. So what is this? 7 days? This is a week old. That's what they're asserting. But does anybody in the chat still believe that the Strait of Hormuz is open for commercial vessel transit and that Iran does not have any control? That's what they're putting out. See, Cainzilla says the strait was never closed. Steve-O says it's confusing because they are playing with the markets. I Invest Weekly, and you can time the market at this point. If you look at Trump's investments, he times it too. Let's see, Termy Cobra says some of you guys are a bit premature in your analysis of who won and lost this conflict. Yeah, it's not over till the fat lady sings. And it depends on what your idea of success is. One of the main things that DJT has accomplished is that he has secured contracts and support for military-industrial congressional complex for probably the next 20 years. You know what I mean? Fear makes money. Everybody's afraid that the U.S. ran out of missiles. Everybody's afraid that we can't handle some country like Iran. The fear is there. It's been created. Let the contracts begin. Champagne. If you look at it from a business standpoint, nobody gives a shit about Iran other than the oil. But the military-industrial congressional complex is a huge win. Holy shit. I mean, from several standpoints, all the stuff that's been expended has got to be replaced at a higher level. All of these gaps that's been identified, from AI to drones to to anti-drone technology, all of this shit has got everybody scared. Let the contracts flow. Gentlemen, start your engines. If you're part of the military-industrial congressional complex, you got contracts for a decade. There don't need to be another enemy invented for 10 years. We can go the next 10 years with no war or no enemies, just due to the contracts to replace what was expended, catch up on the technology. It's there. So whoever comes in for the next 8 years, probably some Democrat, will ride out that wave that's already been created. See how that works? Okay, Nick brings up, I believe, that Iran is not in control of pretty much anything, including the hillbillies with rocket launchers on the coast. Yeah, this is what me and my buddy discuss a lot. Okay, put my Cool Breeze glasses back on here. That light right there blinds you. You know, after years in Iraq, Afghanistan, on a nightly basis, or at least a weekly basis, the insurgents, or just people who pissed off at the military or the U.S. government or what have you, they're still lobbing mortars and 107s onto the fobs. Occasionally get a hit. That's after fucking 10 years, 20 years of being there. With the drone technology now, imagine that same redneck or insurgent or pissed off individual, whoever, instead of just lobbing these less than accurate rockets and mortars, occasionally getting a hit, now you just type in the fucking 10-digit grid, and that fucking drone is gonna fly and get a good hit. So that is a very good comment. We've talked about it before. Even if Iran says, okay, we want a deal, you're still gonna deal with the fucking hillbillies, the criminals, the pissed off guy that didn't get promoted. They have this technology now. You can't put the genie back in the bottle to where if somebody wants to hit one of those ships, it's not luck of launching a 107 or a mortar and trying to hit it. You're going to get a hit. The technology is here. It's an accurate 107. It's an accurate mortar. So, hillbillies with rocket launchers. That's just a way of simplifying problems from here on out due to the technology. Yeah, I've seen some videos with that gentleman, Palmer Luckey. The one that I talk about often is when he was with Mike Rowe, that guy from Dirty Jobs or whatever it's called. And at the end of that interview, what they were discussing was if there was another World War II Beach of Normandy type invasion, where everybody had to come together on the same sheet of music and take the beaches of Normandy, could we do it today? Are there enough able-bodied young men in America with that mindset to take the beaches of Normandy? And both of their assessments at the end of the conversation was no. No, we don't have those same individuals in the same shape with the same mindset to try to take the beaches of Normandy. That's how that conversation ended. Pretty interesting. Got 99 thumbs ups. I got 5 thumbs downs. That puts me over the 100 barrier. But if I could get one more, then I'm staring at a nice round number up there. If you could hit that like button, them Google squirrels, man, they like that in the algorithm. At least I think they do. I mean, you know, what would you rather have, $99 or a $100 bill? I'll take the $100 bill. So somebody hit that thumbs up for me if you can. I'd appreciate it. Okay, so Steve-O says, I've read that Taiwan would be a Normandy situation. The U.S. calls them the Red Beaches in Taiwan. And see, I'm of a different opinion. You know, the Chinese are building these landing craft. They've got them on satellite. And they're basically, you know, just floating barges and bridges that can come up. They got pylons that go down and stabilize, and then ships can just pull up to them and offload a bunch of men and machinery and vehicles. And there's photographs of them in action, testing, what have you. I think that's all part of the deception. Just like we deceived the Germans before the Normandy landings. You know, with the inflatable tanks up there. inflatable vehicles. I think the Chinese are fooling everybody with building that stuff, because I don't think that's what it's going to take Taiwan. And you got to bear with me here, but basically what I think is going to happen is, out of the blue, all of a sudden there's going to be a drone invasion. They're going to be launched from cargo ships, drone submarines. Some of them fly direct across the strait. These drone swarms will shut down the airspace, and then they'll have armed drones just sit every 100 meters on every street in major cities. They'll take over the airways. So your screen will cut to a recording that says, "The peaceful reunification has begun. Please remain in your house. We'll be providing guidance soon. Please don't approach the drones as they're armed." And basically lock everybody down. Everybody will be locked down in their houses. There'll be armed drones sitting in the street. They lock down the airways with drones. The people who are already there take over the ministries without a shot fired. And then within a matter of hours, it's over. Everybody who was in charge is in custody. And that's that. That's how I think it's going to go down. I don't think it's going to be some big-ass invasion using this stuff and try to allow it to get messy, because once they take it, the U.S. is, what are they going to do? Nothing. And is it worth it? No. I think that's how it'll go down. It'll be a big nothing burger in the end. I mean, the Chinese, when you study the art of war, they don't think that the idea of the art of war is not to go out and fight a huge battle and slug it out, and come back with 70% of your forces got destroyed, but you still won, and now you're a hero, and there's a movie, Rambo Part 34 made about it. That's not the art of war. The person who really gets all the credit, who is really respected, is the person who pulls off the operation I just described, who took back the island without one round being fired. That's the person who will be talked about for centuries. Not the dude who has to go over there and slug it out. It's just a different mentality. So that's what I think. Well, and that's the thing too. Everybody wants TSMC. My solution all along has been pull some ships up there, tell everybody in Taiwan to get in, load up all the equipment, bring them to America. Welcome to America. You're U.S. citizens, and tell the Chinese, okay, you can have that fucking rock. Congratulations. All right, go over there and celebrate. So anyhow, that's how I think it's going to go down. I think it's just going to be drones, inside job, over before you even know it. And what's the U.S. got to do? We condemn their actions. In the future wars will be fought with drone swarms. You look over your city and see clouds of them destroying each other. If the enemy wins, your nightmare begins when they seek you out. There you go. The KC says Z will get this one China. It's just a matter of time. It's got to be done by my mind went blank. 47 or 49. Anyhow, it has to be done. So, and as soon as they get to that point, it's going to happen. But again, I don't think it's going to be a big-ass slugfest, bloody mess, and an invasion. They're going to lock it down, and then there'll be a few plane loads of troops land. It is what it is. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons strategically they want it. It's right off their damn coast, but it's also personal. And if they don't take it by the deadline date, they lose a lot of face. And they're not going to lose face. And that's one problem that Americans and American planners, policymakers, they just don't understand how face works in Asia. They don't understand face. I describe it like this. In America, we've been brought up to believe, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. It's the opposite. Asia or the Middle East, I truly believe if you took somebody, take Big Pumpkin and say, hey, I can either embarrass you verbally in public in front of a room full of people, or I can take you out back and punch you in the face. I think most people would choose to be punched in the face in private. That's how important face is. So you're not dealing with just in my opinion, you're not just dealing with the fact that they want the island for the strategic value, for the chips, for the subs, all that factors in, but face is very powerful. They got to do it. Let's see, Nick says, hard to imagine it going down too much different than Hong Kong did. There we go. In America, we're all about John Wayne, Audie Murphy, Hollywood style. And the art of war is the exact opposite. Alright, so anyhow, what do I got up there? Fact check. That's from a week ago from CENTCOM. Do we agree or disagree with CENTCOM's assertion over the current status of the Strait of Hormuz? Personally, I'm not too exactly in agreement with CENTCOM. Reminds me of that Iraqi spokesperson way back in the day. We're repelling the invaders. Meanwhile, 113s are rolling through the streets of Baghdad. A little bit off on his information and assessment. See what else we can pull up here regarding this topic. Get my old man glasses back on. But again, I don't think CENTCOM is right on the money. Now look, I believe that we should always look at our enemies or our opposition or the other team, somebody else's opinion. We should always study everybody's opinion, right? Their perspective. And what Twitter has done recently, y'all saw me put this up there. This is the Tasnim News Agency. They're basically controlled by the IRGC. Now, this is their website, okay? But Twitter recently suspended their account. I don't know why they did that, but I don't think that's a good idea because now you can't see what they're saying or what they're putting out. I don't think that's a good idea. Let them talk. Let them put their side of the story, their information, propaganda, whatever you want to talk about, or whatever you want to refer to it as. Don't ban them. My gosh, now we don't know what they're talking about. Their website was down for a day or two, at least it was for me, and the website's back up, but the Twitter account is still, or is suspended. And if I pulled up the information on Wikipedia, it says this is basically controlled by the IRGC, so this is their perspective. It's their side of the story. their propaganda, what have you. But either way, let's see what they're putting out. IRGC displays the wreckage of a downed aircraft. Cleric highlights enemy's humiliating defeat in the war against Iran. Does that sound like anybody who is close to a deal with the United States? No. Ripping DJT's theater diplomacy. Iran and China seeks to expand their trade cooperation. Nowhere in that says, hey, we're cutting a deal with the U.S. government. Nothing. Okay, so I think everybody can see that. The IRGC put on display a large collection of wreckage from U.S. and Israeli aircraft, including the remains of a F-15 shot down by their aerospace force during the war of aggression. Okay, the display featured in a teaser includes the pilot's ejection seat, jet canopy, section of the tail. So they're already fucking setting up museums, exhibitions, and displays. My goodness. So they're already starting their own collection. You know, if you go to Vietnam, which I highly recommend you do. If you've never been to Vietnam, wonderful, magical experience, magical country, all the history. Just go to the museums. You go to the museums, they got all this U.S. equipment there. Just was an outstanding visit. A great museum in Da Nang that we went to. And again, what was interesting is they assigned the equivalent to a lieutenant, female lieutenant, to me and my old lady to show us around. And I never really did figure out if I was getting the treatment back then because I was an American or if everybody did. I never figured that out. But anyhow, I had a lieutenant showing me around. And what was just surreal to me, being a big history buff, was there were a bunch of privates over there. Their detail was washing all the equipment outside. So they're over there with brushes, washing the tanks, washing the Hueys. That was their detail for the day. I'm like, damn, privates are over there washing the Huey. I got a lieutenant showing me around. It's just surreal. Now here you go. Iran's setting up their museum. Once everything gets calmed down, we can go over there and take pictures against this equipment. Alright, let's put the picture of straight back up there. Is that the straight? There you go, right there. I don't know. We've all stared at this graphic, this website for so long. It don't look like nothing's open. They're not marching in the same direction. It's like Janet Reno. Something ain't right. You don't know exactly what it is, but you can look at it and say something ain't fucking right still. I'm not in agreement with U.S. CENTCOM on their assessment. Kell says, as he's talking about the dry lake bed, the U.S. lost those Hercules and helicopters on just south of the nuclear facility that was supposedly for the pilot rescue. The photo looked like the failed U.S. raid. I think you're talking about the raid way back in the day. Yeah, back in Jimmy Carter's time. What the hell was that landing strip called? Desert 6. Yeah, anyhow, that we talked about that in a stream when all that shit went down, that it seemed like there were a lot of assets that were brought to bear on that pilot rescue way too quickly, as if something was underway already. So yeah, there's still something fishy about that. Something fishy. Desert 1. Yeah, I think that's it, yeah. Jay Subic Bay, how you doing, my friend? Yeah, I mean, you know, the U.S. military as a whole is incredibly slow. And the assets that they had on station, in almost immediately, in such an immediate time frame, it was like something was already underway. They got aborted, and then they just, the mission went to rescuing the downed pilots. It's just speculation. All right, let me go around the horn here, folks. Coming up on 2 p.m. I know it's 2 in the morning there in the States. Most everybody's ready to hit the rack. So let's just check the weather here. Check the weather, give you a weather update, and then take a few more comments, and we'll shut down tonight's discussion. That's a live view of my frog pond. And with this rain, the frog pond keeps getting bigger and expanding a little bit deeper. But the question is, where, oh where do all the frogs go during the day? I do not know. I do not know. I keep wishing that I could get one captured on video in the pond during the day, but I never see them. It's just one of those mysteries of life that's not meant to be understood. What can I do? What I'm not going to do is stare at this frog pond as much as I've stared at the Strait of Hormuz. Okay. Refresh this screen. We'll look at the technology if you're wondering about Philippine weather. That technology right there shows current conditions, and let's come over. That's what the weather map looks like. We'll cut over to the old lady's clothes. Winds are still just minimal. A little bit of breeze blowing through it, but nothing to write home about. Nothing that somebody's going to lose their trailer or their roof over. All right, a few more comments, and then I'm going to shut her down. Go watch me a good World War II documentary. For some reason, I can never get the Filipinos interested in watching documentaries with me. It ends up just being me and Forrest G. Alright, Aries, how are you? We can always depend on the Chinese weapons and military to be garbage that will fail. Man, that's what we hope. But when they can build 1,000 ships compared to our 3, it ain't got to be the best quality. You know, if we go back and study that lesson between how the Germans made the Tiger tanks so perfect and sophisticated and so much superior But when they broke down, there was a team of 65 specialists that had to be on hand to fix the damn thing, where a Sherman tank could be fixed with a clothes hanger and a roll of duct tape. And they say wars are won in factories. And that one report, whether it's true or not or just legend, the Tiger tank commanders, they just kept knocking out Sherman tanks coming over the hill till they ran out of ammo. And their radio traffic supposedly was out of ammo, enemy endless, or unlimited, or some shit like that. So is the Chinese stuff quality? It don't have to be when they can produce 1,000 to our 3. Chris says quantity's got quality of its own. Exactly. Same thing happened in World War II on the tanks. We just outproduced their ass. I kept complaining about Big Pumpkin not bringing me a drink. When I went and took a piss, she told me, hey, there's a Yeti cup full of ice water. Been on the shelf the whole time, you idiot. I said, yeah, but you could have offered me some RC Cola. Sammy the Bull, how are you, my friend? Hope you're doing well, assuming you're still in Rome. Again, wish I was in Rome right now. If I had a pocket full of money, that's where I would be. Yeah, and when I talk about this scenario with Taiwan over how I think the peaceful reunification is going to go down, all you got to do is go here on YouTube. I talk about it a lot. I should have the damn links pulled up. But a couple years ago, the Chinese broke a record of 10,000 drones controlled by one single laptop. And it was like 10,100. They added extra to make sure they broke the 10K record. At the same time in the U.S., 2 companies got together, teamwork, tried to break 5, and they only made like 4,900 because some of them failed. So the Chinese did overkill for their goal, beat the 10,000 plus. They couldn't reach 5. 2 companies cooperating. And the most recent one I just saw a few months ago, I think they broke 25. It's 20 or 25. I think 25,000. Controlled 25,000 drones in the air, doing tricks, whatever the hell they were doing, with one laptop. One dude with a laptop controlling them. And that's what they're publicly putting out here. So you can have all the technology in the world, but if you don't have the manufacturing capability for the hardware to keep up with your idea or your software, it's useless, right? So imagine one laptop on a Guinness Book of World Records, just an exhibition that they're revealing to the public, can put 25,000 drones in the air. All China has to do to take Taiwan is just overwhelm the air, the land with drones long enough for them to put the people in place. What are we going to do about it? It's going to happen so quick, there's nothing you can do about it. That's my assessment, but I've been wrong before. I just think that's the most simplistic, less than lethal or no lethal way to pull it off. And the whole world would be like, holy shit, they took Taiwan, didn't fire one round. They just had to use 10 million drones with 4 laptops. It'll be worth reading about. Sammy says here in Rome, I got a hot cup of coffee. Always welcome to Italy. Man, like I said, I'd love to be there. Just had a wonderful, amazing trip. When I went there, I was with my second wife or third wife. Can't remember what order she was in. Anyhow, one of my ex-wives. Had a great trip. Outstanding trip there. I love it. Yeah, we were talking about the school shooting earlier. What does the world come to? You know, historically, we haven't dealt with those types of issues over here in Southeast Asia, and now they're starting to occur. Obviously, not on the frequency of what goes on in the U.S., but before, it was just like a problem in the U.S., and now it's over here as well. You know, Big Pumpkin talks about it like on a daily, not daily, but, you know, she's always on the Facebook looking at shit. It's almost a daily basis. Oh, they have a bully. The way she pronounces it, it's like Booly. She'll tell me about the bully, what the bully did. So-and-so got bullied, and, you know, it's a big topic. Australian guy, how you doing? Yeah, man, I'm always living the dream, no matter where I'm at. No matter where I'm at, I'm going to live the dream. That's the only way you can live. Don't matter if I'm here, Thailand, America, Central America, you got to live the dream. Simple. Just barbecue, listen to the music. You know, get you a thick old lady laying around. Life is good. Couple kids, couple girlfriends on the side. Life is wonderful. All right, folks, thank y'all very much for them thumbs ups. I got 109 up, 6 down, so I broke that 100. Google Squirrel should be happy with me. Pulling it off. Let me check here. How many folks? 77 folks still joining me. I know it's late over in America. I'm going to go ahead and start signing off. I'll be here tomorrow. I appreciate y'all hanging out during the live streams. Again, it's been raining the whole week. The kids didn't go to school, not one day. They had 5 days off. Well, if you add the weekends, they've got 9 days off. You know, I had a bad case of Montezuma's revenge due to Big Pumpkin's cooking. So I haven't been able to leave the house in weeks now. So I'm looking for blue skies someday next week. Get on Red Horse 6. I'll take y'all for a tour. Big long riding tour. Maybe go for a walking tour down to Breda, see what's happening. Yeah, Guapong, take care of my friend. Australian guy, thank you very much. Yeah, I make these look good. I'm going to tell you what. I like these Ray-Bans, I really do. They do. They got history, fashion, style. So I certainly enjoy them. See, Top James says it's good to be back home in the PI. Well, welcome home, my friend. Glad to hear you are back home. It's always good. And let's see, Massa Blaster, hope you're doing well. Okay, folks, so with that, I'll say thanks for joining me. Y'all have a good one. Hug your kids. Give your old lady a big kiss. And I'll see you tomorrow night. With that, I'm out of here. And peace out, my friends.